What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Panda here. I know I'm a little late on this video because people have already done a lot of content on him, but I wanted to talk about the new fusion and if you should go for him. A little TLDR. I think the answer is probably going to be yes, but I want to discuss why I feel that and kind of go from there. So, new fusion, Skinwalker champion, Nishak Vermin Lord. First of all, this guy looks amazing, right? I think he looks phenomenal. I'm really excited to see some of his animations for myself and kind of see what they look like. I would love to be able to see like some little rats delivering bombs. I think that would be cool. But we will have to see. I haven't actually watched a lot of the content on him quite yet because I have been super busy. But I'm super excited to see him in game and see what he looks like. But let's go ahead and dive into the kit. So the first skill we have here is a 1 Pestilence Sensor. It attacks 3 times at random, and each it has a 40% booked to a 50% chance of placing a bomb debuff for 2 turns. Bomb debuffs placed by this skill on enemies whose max HP is equal to or higher than 200,000 will deal double damage. So this definitely screams bosses, right? This screams pretty much everything in the game, boss-wise, is going to have more than 200,000 HP. So I think this is maybe Plarium's way of testing if they should make bombs meta, and kind of work with this and see if this is something we can see. I know that a lot of people, specifically Hell Hades, has been kind of talking a lot about, wanting to see bombs just do double damage in PvE. It doesn't mess with them in the PvP meta, but it allows them to be more viable in the PvE meta, which I totally agree with. I think having, poisons and burn be super meta, but bombs be kind of left on the wayside. It makes, especially if you're a free-to-play or a low spender, or even someone early on in the game who's really not focused on like that PvP side of things, really feels bad if you pull, a Gaius, for example, or you pull one of those really cool bomb champions that's really, really good in PvP, but isn't going to help you progress very high in PvE content, which the beginning of the game, that's what this game's all about, really, is grinding gear and resources so you can build up those champions so you can then go in and fight PvP. So I like that they're starting to do this. I'm hoping that this is something that maybe they start to build in, or maybe we see a new boss come out that takes more damage from bombs, something along those, kind of like the Hydra head. Maybe we see a Hydra head that takes more damage from bombs. That would be kind of cool. Give a little more viability for bomb champions in PvE content. But overall, I think this is a pretty decent skill. Attacking 3 times at random. It's not quite AoE, but it could be AoE in certain scenarios. Pretty interesting. But overall, I think it's a pretty decent A1. A2, Vermin Lord's Command. It's a 4-turn cooldown, books down to 3. This is an AoE, attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance, books to 100% chance of placing a decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. That's nice. And has a 75% chance of decreasing the detonation count of all bomb debuffs by 1 turn, and increasing the duration of all poison debuffs by 1 turn. This just kind of screams PvE content. Right, this screams PvE content. This reminds me kind of like, sort of like Theodore-ish, right? You're increasing duration of poisons and you're decreasing bombs, so it's kind of the same, sort of. I really like that. I think this is going to be a very solid skill for clearing waves, potentially. With like a poison explode champion like Zavia, Elinaro, Theodore, something along those lines, which could allow him to be meta even if these bombs don't tend to be a lot of damage. We could see some viability with just using his A2 in some of these poison explode comps, which I know that I am very, very excited to actually get this guy, because I think that he could be a potential champion to put on my Poison Explode team, because right now I'm using Scartorsis, which does nothing for me, but give me a speed lead. So we'll kind of see. Maybe he's someone I can put in there, give me a little bit of extra damage with that increase of poison debuffs, and maybe be able to help me clear the waves a little bit faster. We'll see, though. Anyways, we go down to the third skill, the Unclean Banquet. This is a 5-turn cooldown, books down to 4 turns. It attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing 2 bomb debuffs on each target for 2 turns, then grants an extra turn. So this is really good because this basically means that this has a 3-turn cooldown once it's booked, which is really, really cool. And it also means that he can go straight into Vermin Lord's command, which means that we can place these bomb debuffs. He can then decrease the duration of the bomb debuffs, which means that they are going to explode that basically as soon as they take their turn, which is really, really powerful. I really like this this skill actually, which is really, really cool. And it also basically what that means is he actually will be really good, specifically for my comp, because even if the Poison Explode doesn't kill right away, they'll have this bomb that will hopefully explode and take them down that last little bit, which is actually exciting. So I'm very, very excited to get this guy more now. This is my first time seeing his kit, so yeah, I'm super excited to get this guy. I'm definitely going to be going for him. I'm going to start farming the stuff that I need right away. But yeah, I love this. And another point here is that the bomb debuffs placed by this skill also have that double damage, which is really, really good. So then we go down here to his passive, Rat Plague. Every time a bomb debuff placed by this champion detonates or is removed, places 2 5% poison debuffs for 2 turns, and these debuffs are protected. So this is interesting. I think this will help a little bit on bosses. So typically the bosses don't take as many turns as you do in dungeons, and so because of that, I think that we'll see a lot of poisons come off. So even when, like for example on Dragon, we go in and we place this bomb, and then he does this to reduce the countdown on the bomb, and then that bomb explodes, and then we've got 2 poisons on there, which can do potentially quite a bit of damage over time. So I definitely like this. Debuffs are protected. Maybe means that he's going to be relatively okay in Hydra. I feel like poisons aren't a strong source of damage for Hydra, so I don't know how well he'll do in Hydra, but I think it's maybe a potential because they can't be cleansed. So if you happen to miss the taunt on the Hydra head, then you still get some of that successful damage going off. And also maybe we see some potential in Arena with this because of the bombs. Paired with like a Gaius or something like that. There is some potential, maybe. We'll have to kind of see. That's definitely not going to be my area of expertise, but it could be potentially good. And then of course we have this aura, which is just increase ally attack in all battles by 30%. This just means it's going to help him make bombs hit a little harder. Overall, though, I mean, I really, really like this champion. I think he is a solid addition to pretty much every account. I think even if, you're an early game, I think he would be a good champion to go for, because I think he's going to be helpful for pushing in dungeons. I think he'll be very good for Dragon. I think he'll be pretty good for Ice Golem. Spider, probably not so much. But yeah, I mean, I think he'll be pretty good in those areas. He could, and actually now that I'm thinking about it, he could be relatively good in Fire Knight, because he does have a 3 attack, A1, which is pretty good. The rest of his stuff is kind of not so great, but he could be one of the ways that you clear the waves getting to the Fire Knight. And then you have an A1 that hits 3 times, which is pretty good. So potentially good for early Fire Knight teams as well. We'll kind of have to see. We do know that this is going to be a standard type fusion, or an older type fusion, so we're going to have to collect rares, make epics, and then fuse him, which means it's going to be much more difficult than a normal fragment type fusion like our last Hosker fusion, for example. It's not going to be just collecting shards, so do keep that in mind. I believe I saw somewhere that it's going to be mainly spirit champions, with a couple Magic champions thrown in from what I saw. I haven't been able to confirm that, but from what I saw, that is definitely where we're going. So definitely make sure to try and stock up on some of those spirit potions when it comes around on Thursday, I believe. Definitely keep that in mind. Grind out some of those so you don't have to do it during the event. But yeah, I mean, overall, I'm really excited for this. I definitely think that he is going to be a good champion to go for early and mid game. Maybe not so much late game, but I think he's really cool. I would say I probably would recommend him for everybody. I think he's going to be great for everywhere, especially if he can actually do pretty good in Hydra. There's a world where these bombs are actually very powerful. And he can be a potential damage dealer in there as well. But guys, that's going to be it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comment section down below if you're going to go for Nishak Verminlord. And if you're not, tell me why. But guys, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this in the future. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.